A new study from researchers at Rady's Children's Hospital in San Diego found that when transgender young people are allowed to transition, it significantly improves their depression and anxiety. They say, quote, 42 patients participated in the study. Of those, 26 had depression, anxiety, and or a history of self-harm, and 11 had other psychiatric or behavioral problems. According to lead researcher Maya Marinkovic, many of the patients had suffered greatly from bullying, discrimination, isolation, and lack of support. Patients began puberty blockers at an average age of 12.5 years, and then hormone therapy at an average age of 16.5. 2 female-to-male patients also had their breasts surgically removed at ages 16 and 18. In all but 2 of the patients, depression, anxiety, and self-harm improved, and none of the patients expressed regret or stopped therapy. So this is really important in understanding where transgender people are coming from. And I, in recent times, have started to look at this in 2 different ways. So the first way I look at this is, imagine that you were forced to dress as the opposite sex of what you are and what you feel like you are every day. So if you're a straight guy, it's like if you or we were forced to wake up and no matter what, here, you have to put on this dress, here, you have to wear lipstick, here, you have to wear a wig, and you have to speak in a voice that's more in line with a feminine voice than a masculine voice. You have to force yourself to do that every day. It's like if that was done to me, I would slowly lose my mind. I would. Because that's not what I am. I'm not being true to myself. I know what I am, and it's not that. And it would be embarrassing. It would be legit embarrassing to me. So think of it that's what transgender people go through, because that is what they go through. They're walking around as something that they're not, and they're embarrassed by it, and they hate it. And it adds depression and anxiety, creates these things, and it makes them feel it's just wrong. You're living a lie. And when you repress things like that, they manifest themselves in weird ways and terrible ways and destructive ways. So that's the first way to look at this. And the second way to look at this is something, I'm not going to lie, I saw this on like the Discovery Channel or the Science Channel or something like this a while back. It's this issue where it's called body identity integrity disorder. And that's when people really feel, they genuinely feel like one of their arms, for example, or one of their legs, it's a limb that doesn't belong. They feel like, no, you don't understand. When I look at my right arm, for example, what it feels like is a dead weight, useless third arm. Like if I had a third arm that's just dead weight hanging off here that doesn't do anything useful and it's just annoying and I feel like it shouldn't be there. Some people look at just one of their limbs like that. And what's amazing is that for the longest time, people attempted to treat this issue with therapy. They would talk about it and try to fix the problem that way. People self-reported that it didn't improve them at all. They also tried drugs, and they said, okay, well, let's do, whether it's antipsychotic drugs or antidepressant drugs or other psychological drugs. They tried that, didn't work. You know what they found is the one thing that actually works? If they amputate the limb. Now you're thinking, come on, that's too extreme. And it is extreme. There's no doubt it's extreme. You're basically making it so that if you want to cut off an arm, you have one fucking arm left. Or you want to cut off a leg, you have one leg left. It's crazy, right? It's insane. But when they came back and they talked to people who went that route, you know what they described? They're much happier. I know it's amazing. Some people, see, back in the day, they refused to do the surgeries. They refused to amputate. And then what happened? There were examples of people cutting off their own because they just couldn't live with it. I can't live with it. I just can't live with it. I got to get rid of it. And they were self-reported being happier after. So this is just like that. Except I'd argue it's a much less extreme version of that. It's somebody who's born as a male and they feel female, or born female and they feel male. Who gives a fuck if they want to live out their life and get hormone therapy and get sex change therapy and they want to live their life as the other thing? It's none of my business. And here's the main point, man. For society to cast judgment on these people as if it's some sort of moral failing of the person that they were born this way, that speaks more about how bad of a person you are and how wrong society is than it speaks about the trans individuals themselves.